Central Election Commission has finally announced the results of the June 30th election, and according to the report, 22.96% of those eligible voted. The reported figures have sparked much political debate. The international community has already made it clear that the solution to the political crisis in Albania must come from local representatives and, according to the French ambassador, responsible people are working on a solution. President Ilir Meta has not withdrawn from the struggle of the decrees, today deciding to return the law on territorial planning back to the Assembly for further review. It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 27th of July, 2019. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to RTV Ora's English edition. My name is Alexandra, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. After 27 days, the Central Election Commission has announced the final results for the June 30 vote. The final meeting was accompanied by analysis and debate on the process, while the chair of the Commission, Clement Zuguri, said that he could not give a passing mark. Though through our vote, we have given a mark also for the performance of the Central Election Commission. I believe the Central Election Commission ranks somewhere between transparent and suspicious. Between standards and the double standards, the CEC has chosen the second. I cannot give a passing grade for the Central Election Commission's behaviour in this process. I will vote negatively because I do not want this behaviour to be set as precedent, said Clement Zuguri. On the other hand, the Vice Chair of the Central Election Commission, Denar Biba, sees the process as having gone differently. Once again, he pointed out that the implementation of the Constitution and the support received from the international community. Of course, politics will have an agreement, but not in sacrifice of the Constitution. In these elections, I felt an extraordinary level of Western support, said Biba. Thinking along the same lines as Denar Biba was the legal representative of the Socialist Party, Eridian Saliani, who remarked that June 30 was an excellent process. According to the final result, 811,727 voters participated in the 30 June election, or 22.96% of those who have the right to vote. This result had been confirmed earlier by the Central Election Commission, but has since stirred up a lot of debate among the political parties. The Democratic Party leader Lulzim Basha has accused the government of plunging Albanians into poverty by thieving all public assets. During a meeting with his supporters in Delvin, Basha said that the only ones getting rich in the country are the oligarch friends of the Prime Minister. A handful of clients, together with Edi Rama and his government, have thieved every bit of public wealth and every natural resource in the country. They are the cause of deepening poverty, unemployment and lack of opportunities, said Basha. The Democratic Party leader added that his abandoning the public interest to enrich himself and a handful of businessmen and criminals is one of the reasons the public refused Edi Rama on June 30th. June 30 is null and void. Every outcome of the process is null and void, retorted Basha. The opposition leader also said that his major commitment for when the Democratic Party takes over the country's leadership is to return his gratitude to the Albanian people through concrete work that improves their well-being. According to the French ambassador, Christine Vassac, the political crisis in Albania is obvious, but reasonable people on all sides are working to resolve it. Internationals luckily so, because the stance taken by the foreign diplomatic community remains clear. The crisis cannot be solved by the internationals. I have no doubt that on all sides and levels there are reasonable people seeking a solution. You know all too well that it is not the foreign diplomats who can give a solution to this situation, though the people in this country deserve a resolution, said Vassac. But if the chancellors and diplomats in Tirana will not interfere, who will hold the Albanian political class accountable for reaching a solution? When posed with this question, the French ambassador referred to a phone call between the French President and Prime Minister Rama, noting the tone was entirely positive. As you may know, 3 days ago there was a phone call between President Macron and Prime Minister Rama. This is something good, positive. I cannot say what details were discussed because I was not in the conversation, but I appreciate the discussion itself, explained Vassac. Albania expects a response regarding the opening of negotiations this October. France is among the countries sceptical of accepting Albania into the EU, and according to the ambassador, no decision has yet been reached, adding that many things could happen between now and October. You are asking me questions about the position of the Netherlands and Germany, but it is not my place to say. Even with France, I cannot say anything concrete because it is yet to be concluded. There is still much time before October and many things can happen until then, added Vasak. To the figurative question from journalists in Koicha who asked if Albania will be burned down like the Notre Dame, the French ambassador Vasak responded, "Just like the phoenix, we are resurrected from the ashes. However, regarding Albania, there is no such fire." President Ilir Meta has returned the amended draft law on territorial planning and development for parliamentary review. In his arguments for the return of law, which relates to some public works which have caused both political and social debate, such as the National Theatre and the expansion of the New Ring Road, the President of the Republic said that the law requires consultations with other ministries and stakeholders related to the content and the effects of the law. The head of state opposed paragraph 8, giving this argument. According to this provision in the project review process, no consent or consultation with the landowners on which the work is performed is foreseen. For this reason, the application of this article under the current formulation may lead to misapplication in practice or misinterpretation. As a result, it violates the constitutional principle of legal certainty and public interest. The President considered amending the law essential to ensure that the law on planning and development of the territory is in harmony with the effective legal framework of public procurement and private-public partnerships. In this way, any interference with the law should not create space for misunderstanding, which could lead to misuse of public funds and consequently a violation of the public interest, added Meta. However, today the President did decree 3 other laws, those being the laws on the protection of wild fauna, on the ratification of the loan agreement for the water supply of rural areas, and the law on the protection of health from tobacco products. Careful if you plan to go on vacation with your vehicle. Even if you do not see the police in the street, do not be surprised when you receive a fine at your address for any illegal activity, such as unsafe overtaking or travelling at speeds exceeding those permitted. In an interview for RTV Ora, the Chief of Durrës Road Police, Valentin Florini, said that there are about 700 officers now equipped with transportable radar technology. To further improve police effectiveness in maintaining appropriate safety standards on Albanian roads, the additional measure of recording film of all violations and avoiding direct contact with citizens has also been imposed for the first time this year. The head of the Road Traffic Police of the seaside town also drew attention to the hotspots in the region which require increased police presence, for which he said he has also requested the cooperation of the Ministry of Transport. But despite the fact that the number of accidents compared to the same period last year is lower, the use of smartphones, the failure to wear seatbelts and, in particular, overtaking vehicles in unsafe conditions continue to be major problems on our roads. Meanwhile, the road police in Tirana, in just the last 5 days, have fined 87 vehicle drivers for overly tinted windows, 17 of which had darkened even their windscreens, thus significantly reducing visibility for the driver. This is also considered a high-risk cause of accident. One of Albania's favourite coastal cities is boasting not only about its sea, but also cultural tourism. Zvenet's monastery in Vlora is just one destination for vacationers looking for something different than the long stretch of beautiful beaches. Every day, it is estimated that over 500 people visit the monastery, the majority of whom are foreigners. Positioned inside the Narta Lagoon, away from residential areas, it remains isolated and therefore protected. The monastery of St Mary in Zvernitz is also one of the most famous Byzantine monasteries in the Vlora region and can be reached via a wooden bridge. It is estimated to have been built around the 13th or 14th century and is the scene of numerous legends and stories. For believers, it is also a place to remember those who do not live anymore. For others, it offers the perfect environment for a quiet day acquainting oneself with history. Peak visiting times are marked on the 14th and 15th of August, the days of St Mary's, whose name is enshrined at the monastery. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of RTV Ora, thank you and have a lovely weekend.